So it seems there's a little confusion going around about the upcoming 4K release of David Fincher's 7. So in today's video, I look to clear that up for you guys. Stay tuned. Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken. Today, guys, we are here to talk about David Fincher 7. When is it coming to 4K? There's been so many announcements and delays, confusion. There's been a lot of confusion going on around David Fincher 7. So I'm here today to help clear that up just a little bit. I've got a timeline of events going all the way back to June of 2023. So we're going to go all the way back to the beginning, guys, and we're going to try to clear things up. As promised, I said I was going to do this on the Physical Media Report this past week because this is just too much to talk about in an episode of the Physical Media Report. It needed its own dedicated video. So hopefully with this video today, guys, I aim to clear things up for you guys, and hopefully you'll come out of this a little bit less confused on what's going on with David Fincher 7. If you did order either the Collector's Edition, I think it's called the Ultimate Collector's Edition, or the What's in the Box Edition from Amazon or Zavi, hopefully after today's video, you'll have a good idea of when you can maybe get this box set. Now, I've got tons of information, guys. Like I said, I've got a timeline. I've got multiple articles I'm going to read from as well. So this could be a longer video. I'm not exactly sure how long it's going to take for me to get into all this stuff, but just strap in and let's talk about 7 coming to 4K. But before we get into it, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the like button. I would definitely appreciate it. I don't know why I always wave my finger at the camera. I would definitely appreciate it if you hit the like button for me. And then leave me your thoughts and comments down below. I mean, look, the good news is that we will probably get 7 at some point. I mean, it's not canceled or anything. It just keeps getting delayed. But it's just interesting how all this stuff is kind of working out, I guess. And because this is really David Fincher's second film coming to 4K, and David Fincher's so new to the format, let me know what you think about all this stuff in that comment section below. And let's go ahead and get into it. So starting from the beginning, last June of 2023, in a Variety interview with David Fincher while he was promoting the upcoming release of The Killer, which I think was on Netflix. Is it The Killer or Killer? I can't exactly remember. I didn't watch the movie. I still need to watch the movie. So he was promoting this in this interview, and that's where he confirms that a 4K is being worked on for the movie 7. So yeah, right here, reading from this Variety article, it says, speaking of 7, Fincher confirmed during the conversation that he is currently working on a 4K remaster of his classic 1995 crime thriller starring Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, and Gwyneth Paltrow. And we're going back and doing it in 4K from this is straight from Fincher's mouth. We're going back and doing it in 4K from the original negative, and we overscan it, oversample it, doing all of the due diligence, and there's a lot of shit that needs to be, watch your mouth, David Fincher. There's a lot of shit that needs to be fixed, Fincher said, because there's a lot of stuff that we can now add because of high dynamic range. You know, streaming media is a very different thing than 35mm motion picture negative in terms of what it can actually retain. So there you are, you know, a lot of blown out windows that we have to kind of go back and ghost in a little bit of cityscape out there. So we got the director stress that he's fundamentally against the idea of changing what the film is, adding, I'm not going to take all the guns out of people's hands and replace them with flashlights, which was a diss on E.T., Steven Spielberg and E.T., because he notoriously did that in that movie. So, okay, I don't really need to get into too much more of this stuff because he goes on to talk about Dragon Tattoo and a whole bunch of other stuff. But basically in this article, he announced back in June of 2023 that we were going to be getting 7 on 4K. And then we didn't hear any news about it until December of 2023. Almost 6 months later, the actual 7 4K release, 2 different releases were announced. They put up on pre-order on Zavi and Amazon. Now, these were UK exclusive releases, so we still have never gotten any kind of US domestic release announcement since these were announced back in December of 2023. So we never got an announcement for 7 over here in the States. These are UK exclusive releases, and they were both announced to come out on January the 11th. One was the Ultimate Collector's Edition, which was a nice little kind of like steelbook box set with the posters and all kinds of swag and stuff. And then there was the What's in the Box Edition, which was a huge box that I think was about $30 to $40 more than the regular Ultimate Collector's Edition. I think both of these sets had similar stuff inside. There was just different packaging, but these are both announced to come out on January the 11th. So, and I was kind of confused by that because I didn't know that an actual release date was assigned when these first went up for pre-order, because I remember talking about them on the Physical Media Report. And when I was talking about stuff I was excited about in January, I never brought it up. And a lot of people are asking me, Ken, why didn't you talk about the 7 4K that's coming in January? And I'm like, I didn't know these were even coming out in January. And apparently they weren't, because they later would get pushed. But they were announced at the end of December, these nice box sets, and it got everybody excited. But they were only the UK exclusives that were announced. The actual slipcover for Over Here, which I'm assuming we're going to get at some point, and a steelbook, which it's Warner Brothers. I'm assuming we're going to get the steelbook and the slipcover treatment like we have most of the Warner Brothers stuff, like The Departed and some of the recent releases like Twister, which we've only got a steelbook for, but I'm assuming that we're going to get a slipcover at some point. The Oceans movies they got steelbooks and they got a collector's edition slipcover. So I'm assuming with 7 we'll get the 4K slip and we'll get the 4K steelbook in the States, but none of that was ever announced. It was never announced to come in the US at any point in time. It was just this UK version that was. So that's number 2 in the timeline. Let's move on to number 3. So in January, I believe it got pushed to May the 3rd on Amazon. And I'm not sure if Zavi, I'm not even sure, because I think the first time I saw this, both those collector's editions were on Zavi, and I'm not sure that a release date was ever assigned on Zavi. So I don't know if there was ever a release date change on the Zavi website for the 7 collector's editions, but it was pushed to May the 3rd on Amazon. So in January, everybody thought it was coming out in January, and then it got pushed to May the 3rd. So no big deal. It's just 4 months, right? And then something very interesting happened, which I'm still very fascinated by how all this stuff works. And just the lack of, I guess, awareness by Amazon in this entire situation. But at the end of March, Zavi sent out an email to everybody that pre-ordered this set from Zavi. So I imagine if you ordered from Amazon, you did not get the same email. But Zavi sent out this email, and I do have this email in front of me right now. And basically what they said was this was going to be delayed until 2025, and they were doing this at the request of Warner Brothers. So because Warner Brothers never really announced this 4K, like Warner Brothers themselves never announced this 4K. The pre-orders and the images just went up on Zavi and they went up on Amazon, but there was no official announcement of this release. So because Warner Brothers never announced it, they just told Zavi to tell everybody that it was delayed. So I found that whole thing fascinating, because the studio, because we see this stuff all the time, guys. Like I track this stuff all the time. Like the studios, like the pre-orders will go up, and then like a couple weeks later, the studios will actually announce it. So it happens all the time with the pre-orders. I guess they give them permission to put the pre-orders up, and then they officially announce it. But when you have this situation where the pre-orders go up and then the studio's like, hey, we got to walk this back, then it's the actual like websites that put this stuff up that have to deliver the bad news. So let's read this Zavi email. So it says, we have an update on your pre-order of 7 Ultimate Collector's Edition, which I never ordered this. I never ordered this set. I like 7 a lot. I think it's a great movie, but I don't need all the swag for 7. I can settle for just a regular standard slip when it comes out. We have an update on your pre-order of 7 Ultimate Collector's Edition 4K Ultra HD Steelbook. Warner Brothers have asked us to update you with the following message. Thank you for your advanced pre-order for 7 4K. We are thrilled for you to see it beautifully remastered in UHD. We are working behind the scenes to bring you the most pristine version of the film possible. So what that tells me is they were not completed on the 4K remastering, that was not done as of this time, which is interesting, and we'll get to it in a second, but this movie was screened in mid-April, and this was sent out at the end of March. So for them to say that they're still working to bring the most pristine version when the movie was already done in 8K and shown on screen is interesting. I guess maybe they're more or less saying we're working to bring it to disc in the same way that it was brought to the theaters. I guess maybe that's what they're saying. To that end, we will be shifting the release to 2025. We appreciate your patience and understanding and look forward to sharing the product with you in the near future. The exact date is not known yet, so we will be updating the website with a holding date very soon. We are assured the product will be well worth the wait, but we will all unfortunately have to be patient for longer than expected to find out what's in the box. They actually made a quote of the movie. That was smart, right? Tie in this very horrible news to the movie and make a quote out of it, a fun quote from the movie, right? Maybe that makes the people that spent all this money to pre-order this thing feel better, right? Is that what Warner Brothers thinking? Because I'm sure it didn't make them feel better. But anyway, that's the email that Zavi sent out. And that was, like I said, at the end of March. Now, while all this is going on with Zavi and the people that pre-ordered from Zavi, the Amazon people, the people that ordered from Amazon this set, are not seeing the delay because Amazon did not relay this message. Now, did Warner Brothers ask them to relay this message? I don't know. But Amazon did not update their pre-orders at all. It remained for May the 3rd. So Amazon still kept the release date for May the 3rd, and confusion set in everywhere because the people that ordered from Amazon said, we're still getting ours. It's coming May the 3rd. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why some people are saying it's going to be 2025. And then the people that ordered from Zavi are like, what the hell? Why is ours delayed? And the people that pre-ordered from Amazon are still getting theirs on May the 3rd. So it made things very confusing for everybody. Now, I will say the Amazon release date did change, but it changed very recently. And I think that's where people realized, okay, this is real. This delay is real. It's really going until 2025. We may not get this this year. So the release date has changed on Amazon, and now it says 2025, and it's also updated on Blu-ray.com as well. It says 2025 on there also. And I think on Zavi, it says like December of 2025, which is usually whenever it says December, guys, usually that's just the release date that they put to kind of cover their butts a little bit, because if they say 2025, people are expecting it could come anytime, but they say December, they're like, okay, well, it could take all the way to the end of the year. Maybe it'll come out in September or May, but they just go ahead and put December of 2025 just to put, I guess, the farthest away that it can possibly be, because there's a chance it could be December, but there's also a chance it could be another month. So I think they just do that to kind of cover their butts. But then we had an interview with David Fincher in IndieWire where he was talking about the theatrical screening of the movie and talking about how he remastered it in 8K. And I think he screened it at the TCM Classic Film Festival. So the movie was screened on April the 18th. And like I said, that email was sent out at the end of March. So they are done with the remastering of the movie. It's just the fact that now they have to, I guess, because it was remastered in 8K, they have to downscale that to a 4K disc. So that work probably still needs to be done. But I still don't understand. It's done. It was screened. I still don't understand why it would take like a year to get this out to everybody. So I don't know exactly what's going on. Again, I don't know what it takes to take a scan and put it on a disc. Maybe that does take a while to do, but to me, it doesn't feel like it should take that long. But I feel like we had the same issue with Nightmare recently because that was also screened in 4K, I think maybe like 6 months ago. And we're just now getting the announcement for Nightmare coming out in September or October. Actually, I don't even think it has a release date, but I think that was also December of this year, 2024. So I get it. The stuff takes time, but it just doesn't feel like it should take a full year if the remastering's already done. Because my initial thoughts when it was first delayed are, okay, well, Fincher just didn't like the way it turned out, so maybe he has to go back in and tinker with it a little bit. But in this interview I'm getting ready to read to you guys, it doesn't seem like he's unhappy with it. It seemed like he is happy with it, and that's what it's going to be going forward. So he basically says here, it is what it is, warts and all, Fincher said, and some of it's spectacular, and some of it is stuff that I would have changed or fixed today, but I didn't want to mess with that. There's a lot of imperfections. There's a lot of things that you just don't see on film. When people say they love the look of film, what they're talking about is chaos, entropy, and softness. Now, of course, we live in an HDR world where you get those kinds of deep, rich, velvety blacks for free. So he's basically saying, look, the people that like grain are the people that like imperfections in their film, and he tried to retain that doing this remastering. And we had to negotiate that fine line between what to fix or not, Fincher continued. So we attempted to go back in and fix to make it match and kind of repaint stuff and just take out water spots and little edge flashes. and some of it is impossible to get it to match, certainly by today's standards. So there's a lot of excavation. I didn't realize it would take as long as it did, at least 6 months dealing with the files and making notes, and maybe the last 9 months to a year putting some of it on the back burner while we finished The Killer. So he's been working on it for a while. I think when he had this interview, this was like 9 months, because it was very recently. So this is like 9 months after the June interview, so that makes sense. So he's talking about working on it in conjunction with finishing The Killer, and that's why it took so long. Then we go down a little bit further. It says 7 was scanned by Warner Brothers Motion Picture Imaging. So we're getting a little bit of details here on the 4K or the 8K remastering. 7 was scanned by Warner Brothers Motion Picture Imaging from the original camera negative and mastered in 8K by Peter Mavro. I can't even pronounce that name, guys. I'm so sorry. Mavromates, head of Fincher's post team. All color corrections, retouches, and VFX were also rendered in 8K. However, because there is currently no distribution chain for 8K, it was downsampled to 4K. Okay, there we go, guys. There will be an upcoming 4K Blu-ray release of 7 through Warner Brothers. So it's coming. They're saying it's coming. It's been screened. I guess they just need extra time producing this stuff. So that was the most recent update with Fincher actually doing the interview. Now we fast forward to the Digital Bits article. And what they had to say, this was back on April the 22nd. And look, Bill Hunt and the Digital Bits, I've said it many times before. I use them quite a bit on this channel. They're a very credible source, and they're usually pretty accurate with the stuff that they're putting out there to everybody. But in this particular case, they kind of put out to people that, hey, maybe we will be getting this in May, or maybe we will be getting this towards the end of 2024. And then they had to backtrack that just a little bit. So we're going to read both the initial article that they wrote and then the backtracking that they did I think maybe a few days later. So getting into the actual article, it says, also we reported about a month ago that Warner Brothers Discovery Home Entertainment might be delaying the long expected 4K Ultra HD release of David Fincher 7 to 2025. So I think that was when Zavi sent out the email, and then Amazon didn't change their date, and there was a lot of confusion, guys. It would have been nice to have Warner Brothers come out and make a definitive statement and not use these websites as their messengers, because that's not really their job at the end of the day. Like, Warner Brothers should have came out and made some kind of a statement. Anyway, goes on to say, well, now it looks like that may not be true after all. The title has been listed for pre-order on Amazon for a few months now with a street date of May the 3rd. But Zavi UK shared word with their customers last month, reportedly from studio sources, that the title was going to be delayed into next year. And keep in mind, WBDHE still hasn't officially announced a release, and yet Amazon also still hasn't taken either of its May 3rd product pre-order pages down. They have one for the 4K Ultimate Collector's Edition and one for the more deluxe What's in the Box Special Edition. Meanwhile, Fincher himself has been doing interviews, including this one with IndieWire, talking about his new 8K restoration remaster of the film, which premiered at the TCM Classic Film Festival. So we've been talking about all this stuff, guys. So it seems possible that the title is still coming, either on May the 3rd or later this year. Whatever the case may be, we would expect Warner Brothers to make some kind of official announcement very soon. You would expect that, right? But they just haven't yet. So anyway, he goes on to say they don't really know too much right now. But then I think a couple days later, he has an editor's note where he updated everybody. And he basically confirms they spoke to Warner Brothers themselves. We've just spoken to WB and confirmed, one, that the 5/3 street date, May the 3rd street date, listed on Amazon for David Fincher 7 and 4K Ultra HD is not correct. So Amazon, look guys, Amazon's just a mess. Like, everybody knows that. They're not updating their prices. They're offering stuff at full SRP up until release date, making people buy it. Then they lower it like 2 days later, and their release dates are all over the place. Like, they put the Faculty up on there, and then they had to take the Faculty off when Screen Factory didn't even officially announce it. So Amazon's just a mess anyway. So it's like, don't even believe any kind of dates or pricing that you see on Amazon, at least when it's first announced anyway. But it says that the official home entertainment release announcements is not imminent. So it's basically saying that Warner Brothers said it's not coming anytime in the near future. So that could mean later on this year, could mean early 2025, which I think realistically, it's going to be early 2025. I think it's going to be around February or March that we get 7 on 4K in 2025. We do, however, believe that the title is still expected in 2024, so they think it's 2024. So stay tuned for future updates in the coming weeks. And I mean, it's possible it could be a November 2024 release, right before the holidays, but I'm still holding, this is my prediction, I'm holding to February. I am holding to February of 2025 that we will see 7 on 4K. And for the main reason I think this, guys, is because they can promote it as the 30th anniversary edition, and Warner Brothers loves doing that kind of stuff. So I think that I don't think they'll put this out in 2024. They will push it a couple months just to be able to promote it as the 30th anniversary edition of 7 on 4K. So there you have it, guys. I know it was all over the place. It was messy, but I wanted to lay it all out there for you guys and let you guys know everything that's been going on with 7 on 4K from the beginning. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope there's a little bit more clarity on 7 on 4K. If you had this thing pre-ordered, you have a good idea when you're probably going to get it. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on bell notifications for all future videos, and follow me on all of my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.